are live. Just going to give a couple seconds for people to start coming in while I sip some of my turmeric tea. Oh, this is so good. It is Wednesday, which means it's Wisdom Wednesday on Lead Your Health with Gina. Just go ahead and say hi, or just pop a comment saying hello, so I can see that someone's here. What I'm going to talk about today is 5 words or phrases that I believe we need to eradicate. Hi, Rosanna. That I think we need to eradicate from our life or from our speech, that sort of thing. But before I get into that, I want to talk a little. I do have some notes here, so let me put it a little bit closer so I can see them. I posted something earlier about the Walk to End Lupus fundraiser that I'm doing, and I can go ahead and pin it into the comments in this live stream afterwards as well. This time of the year, usually there are quite a few lupus fundraisers that are taking place, and usually they do involve walking. I just got a message from Gabrielle, who was scheduled to speak last week, but because of illness wasn't able to. So I'm going to fill you in on that in a little bit as well. But a message from her just popped in, so that's why I was kind of looking. But yeah, this time of the year we do a lot of different fundraisers to raise awareness and as well as raising money for lupus research. So I went ahead and I signed up as an individual, and that particular link is going to be placed in the comment section once this live stream is finished, so you can go ahead and take a look and see what's going to be happening. Because of everything that's going on, obviously this is not going to be an outdoor event. There is an option for virtual this year, so that's the option that I chose. And the way that I'm going to do it is by simply walking or running on the treadmill. And I'm giving people a lot of different options as far as, it is a fundraiser, so there is a link to donate, and I'm giving people an option to donate based on the amount of miles that I do. Let's say, for example, 50 cents per mile. So each day, I've got 94 days. So I decided that I'm going to be doing something almost every day, if not every day, between now and October 10th, which is when the actual fundraiser officially takes place. But I thought I'd do it a little bit differently since I do have the treadmill right here. So what I'm going to do is each day I'm going to walk a certain amount, and I will take a picture of what I actually do or videotape what I'm actually doing, and then post that so people can donate. And then at the end of the day on October 10th, I'll have a cumulative number of how many miles I've walked between today and October 10th, and people can either donate a flat amount or donate a certain amount per mile that I managed to accomplish. And all of this is going to be going to the Lupus Foundation of America. None of it comes to me. But yeah, so I'll post the link in the comment section below, which will give you a little bit more detail about what I'm doing and what the fundraiser is all about. But it's Walk to End Lupus, and there are various organizations throughout the country that I know do it around this time. So if you're interested in doing something along those lines as well, you can certainly check out the link that I'm going to post, because it'll also give you some idea of events that are taking place in your community as well. Okay. Also, next week on Wisdom Wednesday, I have a special guest. I'm working with Gabrielle to see whenever she is feeling up to it for her to come in and speak. But next week I do have a special guest. You've heard me talk about her before, and this is Annika from Mrs. Mango's Herbal Company. I've asked her to come on. It'll most likely be a little bit later next week because she does run a business and they close at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So she will most likely be on around 4:30. So if it's okay with everyone, I'd like to do next week's a little bit later, which is going to be 4:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, and that will give her a chance to kind of wrap up, everything in the store, and then be able to jump on with me. So next week it's going to be Annika from Mrs. Mango's, and I've spoken about this place before because this was the place that got me really started on my herbal journey, and healing from autoimmunity and chronic illness. So next week, Mrs. Mango on Wisdom Wednesday. And I think that's all of the housekeeping that I needed to do. So we're going to go ahead and jump into what I really wanted to talk about today, which was 5 phrases that I think we need to get rid of from our speech, from our life. And the first phrase is I can't. And I've been hearing a lot of people I've spoken to, or that have sent comments in or messages in to me, based on certain things that I've proposed on various live streams that I've done. For example, one of them had to do with fasting, and I've gotten a lot of messages saying, I can't fast, I can't go without food, I can't do this, and I'm not saying that it's a cop-out. I'm saying that, and that's probably a harsh word to use, and I would like to say that. I know it is challenging. I have been there. It's something that I do every single month, and even though I do it every single month for 3 days out of every single month, each time it's like starting over again. And come that second day of fasting, it's like, okay, give me some food already. I know it is difficult. And when I was younger, come Easter time or Lent, it was expected that we were going to fast. It wasn't something that my grandmother suggested or reminded us of, that, okay, Lent starts today, and for the next 40 days we are only going to eat fish, or we never actually went without meat. It was usually fish around Lent. So it was not something that was, suggested. It was expected of us, right? And I think as a society, we've gotten just so used to eating all the time that we really don't feel that we can go without food. But if you remember, hi Crystal, if you remember, our ancestors, this was a norm for them, because they didn't have refrigeration that they could put their stuff into the refrigerator and have it kind of extended the life of the produce that we might have purchased at the store. They didn't have stores that they could go to on a regular basis that they could purchase things. They basically went out and foraged for a lot of the plants and vegetables or fruits that they were eating. And when it came to meat, it's whatever animal was around at the time, and then they had to figure out how they were going to cure that so that they could extend the life of the meat and be able to keep it around when winter comes, because they didn't know where they were going to be able to get their food from, right? But so this is, I think we've gotten to a place where we're so used to having food constantly, we don't know what hunger feels like, what true hunger really feels like. So a lot of people, that say that I can't fast, really have never let themselves get to a point of being hungry. And I understand, I'm not speaking to people who are like, if you have some serious condition that you cannot fast, but I can tell you I know people who have gotten really sick and not been able to eat, and have gone without food for an extended period of time, and having gone without food for that period of time is actually what allowed them to get much better in the end, right? So fasting and giving your body a break is actually a good thing. So I'm not here to say, I'm not here to beat anybody up. That is like the last thing I want to do. It's just that, but those two words, I can't. Because when you're saying you can't, saying I can or saying I can't, you're right on both counts, because that's the kind of energy that you're putting out. And if you're telling yourself you can't, then you're right. But when you tell yourself you can, yes, I can do this 2-mile walk even if it takes me 2 hours to do it. Yes, I can paint. I used to hear that a lot from my students when they would take art class, and they would come in, Miss Hollis, I can't do this. I can't. Yes, you can. Everyone is a creative. You can do this. And they're always surprised at the caliber of work that my students were producing, you know? But that's what I tell them. Yes, you can. And then there's a phrase by Picasso. Every child is an artist. The problem is remaining as an artist as you grow up. Because, the older you get, we tend to think, oh, I can't paint, or I can't draw, or I can't do this. And the thing is, everyone is creative. And I've proven that over and over and over again. So those are two words I'd love to see just kind of eradicated from our speech, right? It's the words I can't. Let me make sure I've said everything I wanted to say about that. Oh, there's a lady right now who is actually going through a really challenging time, because she was being told, she's actually quite a large woman, and she was being told by a family member that she needed to eat properly, and she should start incorporating healthier foods into her diet, and start to lose some weight and that sort of thing. And this was one of the things that we kept hearing from her was, I can't go without food. I can't eat that. I'm going to be constantly hungry. And it turns out she got up to about 350 pounds, and she ended up having a stroke. Now she goes to the doctor, and the doctor is now telling her, you need to include more healthier foods in your diet. You need to go on a diet. You need to lose a few 100 pounds. You need to whatever. And now is when she's actually listening. Because in the beginning, she was telling herself that, she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that. But it's like, when are you going to, the doctor is telling her the same thing that the family member was actually telling her. But now that all of this other stuff has started to happen, she's really beginning to, look at this and say, well, maybe I can do it, because her health is being seriously affected. And it's not just her health, it's also, causing her children, who are also on the obese side too, because you have to remember, there are people around who are watching, right? They're watching what we consume. They're watching the things that we do. So we have to be careful, because there is a ripple effect of everything that we do, right? The other two words, and these ones I'm guilty of saying myself without even realizing that I've said them. I hate. I've said I hate cold weather. I say that pretty much every year when the winter comes around, and I know it's nothing in Florida compared to what it might be in England, or it might be, further up north, but I've heard myself saying that all the time. I hate cold weather. Another thing I do is I say I hate doing the dishes. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not. The problem with saying words like I hate we're created to be beings of love. And when we say the words, you know what? I totally forgot to turn my phone down. When we start to say things like I hate, we are no longer operating in a vibration of love. We're then operating in a vibration of hate, which is not where our soul belongs, right? So we need to stop saying things like that. When instead of saying the words I hate, we can say maybe that's not for me. Washing dishes is not for me unless it's in the dishwasher. Or, cold weather is not for me. But I do love, you probably realize that every time a lot of the times that I come on live streams, I'm usually wearing a jacket because I I'm probably the only one in this household who doesn't really care for cold. That if it was up to me, the AC would be put on 78 or 80 or 82 degrees. Right now, I think it's on like 73. But that temperature, that's not for me. I operate best at 78 degrees or above. So I always have my jacket on. So I've learned to change the words, or I'm learning to change the words I hate to. That is not for me. And you've probably heard your kids, if you give them a particular vegetable, oh, I hate broccoli, or I hate this. And what they're simply saying is broccoli is not for me. I'm not saying don't keep encouraging them, because, but eventually they'll grow up and they'll realize, broccoli is actually a good thing, or whatever other vegetable is actually a good thing. It all depends on the particular person, right? So when you catch yourself saying these two words, then switch it to it's not for me. And in most cases, it's going to work, right? There might be some cases where it doesn't, but I'm pretty sure that in most cases, it's going to work. All right, so that was phrase number 2. Phrase number 3, and these two words are going to be followed by typically a negative word, right? So I am. That is not the negative. That's not what I want you to remove, because I am are pretty much the two most powerful words that there are. But what comes after it will determine, is it going to elevate you, or is it going to lower your vibration, right? For example, I am broke. How many times have you said that to yourself? Or a lot of women I know will stand up in front of the mirror and they will either say it to themselves, or they'll look at their husband and say, I think I'm fat, or I'm fat, or I am this, or I am that. It's the words that come after the words I am that I think we need to change a lot. So the words I am broke, you can say something like, if your kids come up to you and say, Mom, can I get this? Instead of saying I am broke, you can simply tell them, look, I am temporarily out of funds. Notice how it just it changes the whole vibration of the words, right? And that is what we need to start doing. Or here's another example. I can't buy organic. And now notice that the term I can't, one of the words the first term I mentioned, because organic is too expensive, right? So I can't eat healthy because eating healthy is too expensive. Instead of saying it's too expensive, you can say, again, if you don't have the funds at that time to purchase it, you can say, I'm temporarily out of funds, and when the funds become available again, then I will go and I will purchase organic, or whatever the case might be. So we have to learn to change the words that come after, I am, because remember, I am are the two most powerful words that there are. The other one I hear a lot is I am so sick, or I am sick. And this is probably where I made my quickest, how do I say it, for lack of a better word, maybe detour, when I was actually learning when I was working with words to heal my body. One of the things that I took out was saying I am and I have, fill in the particular illness here, to I was diagnosed with, right? Because I think saying I am sick, or whatever the word is, or I have, and you can fill in when you say those words, you are taking ownership. right? And I didn't want to take ownership of any disease. So I started switching those words and instead started to say I was diagnosed with. And you can see how the vibration changes there completely, because I'm no longer taking ownership of it. And that is where the majority of my healing started to take place, was when I changed the way that I was viewing the illness and its connection to me, because I didn't want it connected to me. I wanted it to be just, something there on paper, but I was going to work diligently to eradicate it from having anything to do with me whatsoever. So I'm hoping that this is all beginning to kind of make sense. So let me know in the comment section below if it's kind of gelling with you, if it's resonating with you at all. So instead of saying, words like I am sick, you can start to tell your body, I am abundant in health. And just changing those words around will start, because remember, your body, your cells absorb the words that you're saying. Words, there's a couple quotes I wanted to share with you. Let me find them real quickly to give you an idea of what other cultures in the world, how they view words. Rosanna says, so true. I am is so powerful. Lately, what I say is manifesting, and though at the time I meant it, it happens, and suddenly I have no option but to deal with the new reality right away, no matter what. Right, so words are really, really powerful. And I think it's the Italians who say that words poke holes in the universe. The Maori, they believe that words don't describe the things. They actually believe that the words are the things. You see that? There's a Hawaiian saying, there is life in the word, but there's also death in the word. So you're either speaking life to yourself whenever you use certain words, or you are also speaking death when you use particular words. So what exactly are you speaking into being when you use the language that you're using, right? Here is another word or another phrase that needs to be completely eradicated from our speech or our life. I should, or I know I should. And I know these are terms that we use without even really thinking about them, because I know that I have to catch myself frequently because I use these terms as well, and it's something that you can kind of train yourself to not use them. I've listened to, there's a lady that I worked with, a teacher, and she was just so eloquent. I don't think I've ever heard her say the word or use any filler words. And one day I went and I spoke to her and I said, I've never heard you use any kind of filler words whatsoever. When you're standing up and you're speaking to the audience, everything just seems to flow. And she went on to tell me that it's just something that she practiced over and over and over again. She made sure that those words were not something that popped into her vocabulary or in whatever speech that she was giving. So it does take a lot of practice to not use these particular terms that I'm referring to. So things like I should, we say things like, I know I should eat this particular thing, but I really don't feel like it. Or I know I should start exercising, but I'm just not in the mood right now. Or I know I should do this, or I know I should do that, or I should. These are words that we really need to take out of our speech, right? Because what these do is they really just keep us small, and they keep us operating in a lower vibration. So those terms need to be taken out. And things that we can put in is, you can say, for example, when it comes to the eating healthy, say I am working towards improving my diet, right? Or when it comes to health, instead of using the terms earlier when I said I am sick, or we could say something like, I am operating in perfect health. Take out words should, take out the can't, all of those type of things, right? So we have to start working on, for everybody's going to be different. Whatever words you fill in, it's most likely going to be different for each one of us, right? And this is just a note I had put down to myself. Ancestral healing. The healing doesn't come whenever we start to switch these words and start to take these words out of our vocabulary and incorporate more more elevating words and more higher vibrational operating words. It not only affects us, it also affects those that come after us, right? So we're talking about our children, talking about our grandchildren. These are, the effect is not just going to resonate with us, it's going to send that ripple all the way out and affect our ancestors as well, or our descendants, I should say. So let's say you have a dream, and it's a huge dream, and you get up every single morning and you do whatever it is you need to do. As far as, maybe you have a calendar that you go by, maybe you have a list of things that you have in place, and I know this is, if I don't go according to my calendar, nothing gets done, or I should say, nothing that I have on my list to get done will get done, because life will kind of dictate to me whatever, and I get pulled in, right? So if you have a dream, make a list of the things that you want to do, right? Make a list of things that you need to get done on a daily basis, and let that guide you. So you say, I have a dream. I know I should get up early in the morning, but I really don't feel like it. When you have things in place that say, okay, at 5 a.m. I'm going to get up, and at 5:30 I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee, and at 6 o'clock I'm going to start my meditation. It helps to plan out your day, and it sets you up for success, really, rather than, because starting to say I should get up and I should do this. Your dream, whatever dream that you're working on, nothing is going to get done. It's just going to remain that wish that you have in your mind, and nothing is going to get accomplished. So one way of removing the I should is to actually have your plan in place that will guide you throughout your day, right? I'm hoping this is all beginning to make sense. Here's another term. I don't. For example, people like us don't go on cruises. Maybe that's not a good one. People like us don't marry certain type of people. And I'm trying not to use certain terms here because I want this to remain. But I think you understand. I don't exercise because I just don't have that kind of energy to give to exercise. I don't eat that particular food because, number one, I don't like it. Or I don't go to certain places because that is just not, that's just not a place I want to be, or that's just not a place where I see myself. Or maybe I don't go to those places because I'm too good for that particular place or whatever. But you understand that I don't. When you say I don't, I think it's kind of blocks blessings that I believe you're destined to receive. So when you said I don't, I think you're literally like closing that door, and you're in a place where you're just kind of unwilling to receive whatever blessing might be there if you had allowed that door to remain open. So for example, let me see if I have one written down. I can I'm gonna pull one up out of my own personal experience. Years ago, I mean, we're talking like decades now. I went to Taiwan, and I think Crystal, you probably remember this when I took that trip over there, and I remember going into a particular restaurant. All of us did. It was a group of us that went on this trip. We gathered from all over the world, and here I am from this tiny island in the Caribbean. We go into this restaurant, and a few people want pizza, so we thought, oh, okay. I mean, here we are in Taiwan, and we want pizza, right? So we go in, and we decided we were going to order pizza. But of course, there's no pepperoni, there's no anchovies, there's no pineapple, there's what are your typical toppings for pizza. So one of the options was for octopus. You heard it right, octopus pizza. I could have easily said, I don't eat octopus on a pizza. That is just not, I mean, that's not a topping for pizza, right? Because here I am from the Caribbean, where I'm used to Borden's pizza, which to me was like the best pizza ever. Um, but there was no requesting pepperoni, there was no requesting anchovies or sweet peppers or all of the toppings that I was used to. I mean, here I am in a foreign country, right? And I can't say, well, I don't eat that on a pizza. That doesn't belong on a pizza. It's what was available. And I can tell you it made for a very memorable story, because obviously I'm here right now telling you about this octopus pizza that I ate, many years ago. I could have easily said, well, I don't eat that on a pizza because octopus doesn't belong on a pizza. And did I enjoy it? Let's just put it this way. I enjoyed the memory of it, and I enjoyed the laughs that we all had surrounding eating this, or attempting to eat this octopus pizza, because I don't know if you've ever eaten octopus. It is it's literally like biting into a piece of rubber. Hi, Mrs. Murphy. And it has provided me with a memory I will never forget, because here I am in this foreign country. I wanted pizza. Well, it wasn't just me. It was, quite a few of the others who were, there's a guy there from England. There were a couple people from different countries in Africa, and I think there was one lady from Fiji, but we were all mixed. But there are a few of us who we all wanted pizza. But like I said, there was no typical toppings or the ones that we were used to. So octopus is that was our option. So I could have easily said, no, I don't do that. But I welcomed it. I welcomed the challenge, and like I said, it to this day I have never forgotten how octopus taste, or trying to eat octopus on a slice of pizza, because it provided some very good memories for all of us, something that we talk about to this day, right? So when we say I don't, we kind of block blessings. And because I didn't say I don't, or octopus doesn't belong there, I welcomed the challenge, and because of it, the blessings that I received were just really good memories of sitting down with this group of young individuals like myself from all over the world, and just having a meal that we weren't used to. But the memories that we have from that they're just amazing, right? So I believe I did get through all 5 of them. So let's recap. The phrases that we need to get rid of: I can't, I hate, and not I am. It's just the negative words that come after I am, because I am are the 2 most powerful words in the world. The other term is I should, or I know I should. And then number 5 is I don't, or I don't do, or I don't eat, or I don't, whatever the case is, right? So if you're just coming in, the replay is going to be here. Please feel free to watch the replay. But remember that words are very powerful things. They can create life, or they can also create death. And when you're speaking, this is something that I had to learn as well when I was, over the years as I was healing my body from lupus and chronic illness. The words that we're speaking don't just affect us, they also affect the people that are around us. So when we use certain words, we have to remember that these words don't know the difference between you and the person standing in front of you, or the person standing 10 feet away from you. These words are resonating with your body, and they're also resonating with the people that are around. This is one of the reasons why we have to be careful about the things that we allow people to say to us, because words that people say to us also affect us, but they also affect the person who are actually speaking them, right? So words are very, very powerful things. The Italians said, words poke holes in the universe, because the words that are going out, they're literally like attaching. They're attaching to us. They're attaching to the people who are surrounding us. So we have to be very careful of the words that we speak, and make sure that the words that we speak are creating life, that they're giving life. And it doesn't matter what culture that you go into. Lots of different cultures have their sayings surrounding words and the power of words. The power of words when it comes to your health, power of words when it comes to creating wealth, the power of words when it comes to relationships. Words are powerful. When we can't get through a day without actually speaking. I mean, there are people who I know who, you have a vow of silence and you don't say anything, and silence in itself is a very powerful thing, the lack of words. But for those of us who don't, or who aren't in a vow of silence, the words that we speak on a daily basis, we have to remember that they create life, or they create death, and they affect us, and they also affect the people who are around us. So what are we creating on a daily basis? That is something that we should always keep in mind. What words are we speaking? Are we creating life? What are we creating? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop there. If you have any questions or any feedback on this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is just something that popped into my spirit when I was watching another friend doing a live stream, and I thought to myself, this is really powerful, because this is something that when I was working on healing my body from lupus, I had to change the way that I spoke to my body, because those very words that I was speaking was creating whatever was existing in my body. So did I want health to exist in my body, or did I want illness to exist in my body? And I knew it wasn't going to be illness. So the words that I was speaking, I had to switch them. But the words don't just it doesn't just affect your health, it affects everything. So we really have to be conscious about the words that we're sending out, because the words that come from our tongue, and we say that the tongue is a very powerful weapon, right? So let's say for the next 5 days, be very conscious of the words that we're using. Be very conscious of the terms that I mentioned, and whenever you catch yourself using any of them, use the recommendations and switch it. When you catch yourself using one particular term, have a replacement, more positive term that you've chosen to put in, and just see how your life changes just by changing the words that we're using, right? Rosanna says, thank you for this, Gina, for this subject. I'm now putting it to my higher power to direct my life to health and happiness. Yes, I'm glad that you found it helpful, because words are so powerful. And definitely, when we're doing like meditations or visualizations, words are used quite a bit, at least for me, because when I'm doing a visualization, I like to be able to speak and speak to my cells, speak to whatever part of the body that might be aching at that particular time. And I do remember the words that I was using. They had to be very powerful, very impactful, very positive words. There was no place for negativity because I was speaking health. So let's speak life, whatever that particular part of life might be for you. Let's go forth and speak life. Life to us, life to those around us, life to our family members, you name it. So if you have any feedback, just go ahead and you can leave it in the comment section. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me also in the comment section. And I will let you know whenever I've arranged with Gabrielle to come on. She's going to be talking all about faith. Next week is going to be Mrs. Mango's, if you weren't here earlier. Mrs. Mango, or I should say Annika, who is now running the Mrs. Mango Herbal Company that I've spoken about on numerous occasions. She's a master herbalist herself. I want to say maybe 4th or 5th generation. Her grandmother is the one who actually started the Mrs. Mango Company. But I'm going to let her go into a lot more detail on that whenever she comes in. One of the things I've asked for her to speak about, so you don't want to miss it, is her FTG blend that you've heard me talk about. The FTG blend, frankincense, turmeric, and ginger. It's a very powerful anti-inflammatory blend, and it was the very first thing that I started on when I went to her store. And you know the story. I walked in, and that was actually the first thing that I purchased from her that she recommends. There are doctors who write prescriptions for this particular herbal blend, and she's going to talk to you about that in addition to talking about other immunity or other ways of building your immunity. So don't miss next week. It's most likely going to be around 4:30, but I will definitely make a post and let you know exactly what time. And then I will let you also know when Gabrielle is going to be on. I want to make sure that she is, feeling up to her best to before she comes in. So I will let you know whenever I've arranged with her to come on and do hers as well. Thank you all so much for being here. I do appreciate the time. This actually went on a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I do appreciate your patience, and I do appreciate you taking the time out to spend with me. I will see you all again maybe sometime within the next few days, if not for another episode of Wisdom Wednesday next week. Love you all.